talk a little bit about the NBA. Like I said, I wanted to talk a little bit about the NBA. Didn't talk about it last podcast, but I want to add in a little bit of the NBA today. This topic just came out, ranking the 8 best NBA games of the 2010s. I can name a lot of amazing games from the 2010s that I've watched over my time watching the NBA. Number 8, they have the Miami Heat versus the Boston Celtics in the 2012 Eastern Conference Finals, Game 6, where LeBron had to close out and move on to the finals to verse the Dallas Mavericks. LeBron James, he dominated the Celtics. He had 45 points, 15 rebounds. It was known as a must-win because most people felt like if the Celtics would have won Game 6, they probably would have won Game 7. Oh, no, wait. No, I'm stupid. That's the wrong game. I forgot. This was 2012. So in 2012, they're going to Game 7. The Celtics were up 3-2, and the Heat had to force a Game 7 to win that next game, which they did because pretty much everyone said that they had the momentum, which makes sense. They had the momentum going to Game 7. They forced it, and they went back at home in Miami and took Game 7 and won. And then number 7, they have the Dallas Mavericks versus the Portland Trail Blazers back in the 2011 playoffs. It was the first round, Game 4. It was mainly about Brandon Roy, 3-time All-Star, was demoted to a bench role in the middle of the season after returning from a double knee surgery. I think his career actually ended after this season. If it wasn't this season, it was after that season, I believe so, because he was with the Timberwolves. I do remember that. He played a little bit of minutes in Game 2, didn't really do much, though. And in Game 4 here, Portland was down 21 points before Brandon Roy was able to sink a 3 at the end of the third quarter, trying to keep the series 2-1 from slipping away entirely. And his words were, "I just went into the game like, who cares? If we lose, we lose." And his determination paid off. He drilled an insane three-pointer over Sean Marion, and they held on to the win at the end. They were down by 21 points, and they held on to the win at the end, because Roy was able to score and or assisted on 12 of the Blazers' next 15 field goals as they erased the Mavs. And they had that lead in the fourth quarter. That's crazy. 21-point lead in the fourth quarter, and they were able to overcome that and win the game. Great moment for Brandon Roy's career, no doubt. Number 6, Golden State Warriors versus OKC Thunder in the 2016 regular season. That was the game that Curry hit the long 3 in OT to send the Warriors past them. And also he broke his own record of three-pointers made in a season, connecting on an NBA record 12 three-pointers in a single game. And he did that when he sank a 32-foot shot in overtime to send the Warriors to a 121-118 win over the Thunder. I remember that game, and that game is still a meme and a highlight in Curry's career. That'll always be a highlight in Curry's career, no doubt. That was also their 73-9 season. But we all know what happened later that season, obviously. Number 5, the Utah Jazz versus the LA Lakers. It was Kobe's last final game. His amazing 60-point performance in his final game. I kind of had a feeling when I watched that game. It was one of the most amazing games I ever watched in the NBA, no doubt. That's definitely a top 5 moment in my opinion. I would have to agree with that. Just to see everything he's went through the past 2 seasons before that, he had an Achilles, which pretty much just ruined his career after that. And just to see him come out with 60 points in his final game was just amazing. No one could do it better than Kobe. And he showed that he's definitely a top 10 player of all time, no doubt, by hitting 60 points at the end. I mean, he shoot a lot. He did shoot a lot, but you know what? When you're a legend like him and it's your final game, I would try to go for 60 points too, man, because not only did he score 60 points, but he won the game too. It's not like he lost. He won the game as well. So, I think in his mind, pretty sure it was very worth it for him. I think he'll always remember that moment for the rest of his career, knowing that he was able to score 60 points as a 40-year-old on his last game. Actually, he wasn't 40, he was 38. He was still kind of young, but 38, coming off of 2 years of just serious injuries that just pretty much ended his career. He just scores 60 in his last game. That's just tremendous of him. Got to give props, no doubt. Number 4, got the Dallas Mavericks versus the Miami Heat in Game 2 of the NBA Finals. I wouldn't have it that high, because I know ESPN brought this out. This is their article. But I wouldn't have the Dallas Mavericks versus Miami as number 4. I think the Kobe Bryant game is more memorable, honestly. But that's just my opinion, obviously. I would even take the Celtics winning the finals against Kobe and the Lakers. Honestly, with Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, and Ray Allen, I would probably take the moment when Paul Pierce came out of his wheelchair and had that game where they won. I would probably take that moment over the Dallas Mavericks and Miami Heat. But I guess that wouldn't count as 2010's, would it? Count as the 2000s. I guess. I mean, I don't know if I would take it as number 4, though. I'd probably have it more down as number 5 or 6. But the Dallas Mavericks did deserve this. I mean, Game 2 was the game that pretty much sealed Miami's fate at that point, because everyone believed that he were going to win. And they won Game 1. But Mavericks came in, they did their business, they won Game 2, and then... Ooh. It was just crazy. Because the Heat were 2-0. They're 2-0 in their finals lead. And then the Mavericks won the rest of the series. They just took off. Once they head back to Dallas, it was over. So it was crazy. After Game 2, I mean, it looked like Miami was going to win. It really did. But who knows? I mean, looking back, it definitely is a crazy moment, but I don't know if I would have it as number 4. Number 3. The Warriors versus the Thunders in Game 6 of the Western Conference Finals. Game 6 was really crazy, and Game 7 was really crazy in that series, because, I mean, either way, the Warriors did come back from a 3-1 against the Thunder. But that I do remember that probably being more of a crazy game than Game 7, because Curry and Clay went off. I think both of them dropped 30 points. I know Klay Thompson, he erupted for like 19 points in the fourth quarter. That's insane. And they won 108 to 101 for the victory. I remember Klay Thompson, he was scoring every point. And I'm pretty sure that was the 19-point fourth quarter. He was just automatic. You couldn't stop him. He was just having one of his streaks of just not missing. And we all know when he gets on his hot. When he gets hot, man, he just unstoppable. Just amazing player. Definitely a highlight to their 73-9 win team. Number 2, the Cleveland Cavaliers versus the Golden State Warriors, Game 7 of the NBA Finals. We all remember this. The block by James every moment. The Cavs become the first team of the NBA Finals to come back from a 3-1 deficit. Not only that, they came back from a team that broke the Bulls' record of 72-10 and had the 73-9 record. They still came back and won the NBA Finals. And not only did the block from LeBron James classify that game as one of the best games of the 2010s, it was also Kyrie Irving's shot, which was amazing. That three-point shot was insane. I remember watching this finals game, and it was just crazy. I remember I was at a party, everyone went crazy. It was unbelievable. Props to the Cavs still, man. I would have had that number 1, honestly, because it was the most memorable game in my life so far. So I remember watching that game, and it was just, in my opinion, so amazing. And that game meant so much to me, because to me, at that moment, I realized even when you're down, you can always still come back and win, no matter how bad the situation is. Number 1, though, is the Spurs versus the Miami Heat in the 2013 NBA Finals Game 6, with Ray Allen's clutch 3 to send the Heat to overtime, and then LeBron to finish it in overtime. In OT, Chris Bosh obviously got a key block on Danny Green's last second shot, which gave the Heat the 103-100 win against the Spurs. LeBron took over in overtime after that clutch shot, and then it led to a Game 7 where the Heat just destroyed the Spurs at that moment. And it seems like the Heat, which made it a little bit more memorable, they didn't know it was going to happen that way. LeBron was hot. He scored I think it was 12 of the Heat's last points. I think it was. It might have been a little bit more than that, a little bit less. But I know it was 10 or more points for them. It was crazy. So LeBron took the last shot. He missed. Bosh gets a rebound, pass out to Ray Allen. That's how the story ends. And just looking back at the reactions, it wasn't the game plan. But you know what? Sometimes the unexpected turns out to always win these games. And that's another game to show that you never quit. You always try for those rebounds. You always try for every play of an NBA game, no matter if it's defense or offense, because sometimes it will pay off. Sooner or later, your play, that one play that you tried for, that one defensive play or that one offensive play you actually tried for, it shows that sometimes, you know what, it might just lead you to an NBA championship. And that's what I think we should try to perceive out of that game, was that this is why you should try on defense and offense. Every play you should try to at least do something, because it might lead you to a victory. Not just a victory, but might lead you to the championship and might lend you the trophy of the NBA Finals. So, very motivational as well.